Hello, my dear friends, my dear masters, and my dear gods. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the day 20 of the 21-day plant based challenge, my dear friends. And today I'm really, really, really happy because I've just met another sister from another part of the world. And I have to really, thank the universe to bringing her, a friendship with us. So I'm sure that everyone has been having a great time. Continuing in this 21 days plant-based challenge, and everyone has a unique experience. And I'm sure each and every one of you have really enjoyed being on the challenge. Thank you so much for being a part of this. And today, I need to introduce you to a special, special guest. I've already told a little bit about her, but I really need to introduce her to you. Uh, Her name is Charlotte Lynn, and she is a certified career and wellness coach with a background in ecology, photography, linguistics, and adult education, my dear friends. And she has combined all her talents, experiences, and interests towards making our world a more sustainable and a beautiful place. Don't we all want to do that, my dear friends? And through her coaching and courses, her goal is to help you find your unique ways to contribute to the world too. This is what we all want. This is what we all need. And here I invite Charlotte Lynn to help us understand this even in a more detailed manner. Welcome, Charlotte Lynn. Thank you so much for joining us today. She is from USA, my dear friends, and I heartfully and with a warm hug welcome Charlotte Lynn to this platform and introduce you to the viewers who are viewing us right now. And please tell us about yourself, introduce yourself. Where are you from? What do you do? And just, we can start it off.
Yeah, thank you, Pari. It's really awesome to be here. I was so excited to be able to share just a little bit about what I do and introduce myself to a community in India. I think it's so amazing that people there are interested in this work. I'm actually from Canada, so I currently live in the USA. You're right. My husband is American, but I'm from Canada, and as some of you probably know, there are lots of Indian people in Canada, and so I have a lot of friends, like just and we celebrate like Diwali and things like that in Canada too. So it feels very it's a culture that is like kind of familiar to me. I have not been to India. It's on my list, but I have been to Nepal and had great experience there too. Um, so other than Canada and the US, I grew up actually, I was born in Taiwan originally. So there's a bit of similarity in terms of like Buddhism influence. There a little bit, and I can see how that's influencing the vegetarian, plant-based diet culture as well. Yeah, a little bit more about myself. I have just finished a 6-year tenure as a professor of international communication and media studies in Tokyo at Kanda University of International Studies. And prior to that, I was a photographer and a language consultant for executives in Montreal, Canada. But actually, I started my career studying ecology, and my very first job was doing climate change research in the Canadian Arctic. So it was pretty crazy, and that was a very significant. I think when I speak about my climate, my sustainability story, how I got into sustainability. I really have to start with my first job because it was pretty much deeply into sustainability. But and it was my dream job to work with a professor I liked and at this very prestigious lab. Unfortunately, when I went up to the Arctic and I worked there for 2 months, um, my job was to collect evidence about climate change, right? And so it actually made me really depressed to see that. And I felt a little hopeless about this whole situation because I was up all the way up there. Nobody knows that I'm there really, other than my family and my school. And it's a very like I feel like what I was seeing was very important, but nobody would know. And how would this make a difference? So I felt hopeless and powerless about what I can do towards the environment. And eventually, I decided to leave that field actually, and I became a photographer instead. So there's actually a lot of ecologists who are interested in nature photography, such it's similar to how you like the beautiful images you see in like National Geographic and things like that. So we all love those images, and so I was very very inspired at that time with to express my love for nature through photography. And I became a portrait photographer to basically photograph people in nature. And so that was a very very fun time in my life. I learned a lot, and but I still have a really deep passion for education and ecology as well. So then after 3 years of working as a photographer, I went back and finished my second master's degree, and this time in language education. And through that, I realized I can actually design education in an online format to reach a lot of different people. And that's like actually, I did my master's about 8 years ago. So that's like really at sort of the beginning of educational technology. And so there's not a lot of online courses available and things like that right now, as it is prevalent today. That's kind of when I started to see like, oh, I can kind of take my photography and design skills a little bit into my work, and also kind of I can really talk about any subject that I want to teach, and I can reach a lot of people, which is a struggle that I experienced when I worked in the Arctic, where I feel like nobody would know what I'm talking about. And then now with the online education, I can reach a lot more people, which is very, very exciting. So yeah, after that, actually, I finished my master's degree, and then I got this job in Japan, and so there I was, so for 6 years, and I came back home last year at the end of my contract, but also because of COVID. Um, so yeah, at that time around March, it was pretty bad in Asia, not super bad. Actually, it was the first wave in North America as well. So yeah, it's been a little crazy. And so that really prompted me to start working online. And so I have taken what I have done in the last 10 years, and I started my own coaching practice around this topic. Um, so when part of what I did at the university was to really help my students design their life. So really think about what they want to do, what their interests are, what their strengths are, what their values are, and how they can use that towards their future. So and at the end, I helped some people who had this idea that like they want to do something for the environment, they want to do something for society or for world issues, but they feel like they are in a different background. So like if you want to do something for science, for like the environment, which people usually associate with science, but they have like a communications background, well, they feel like it's not the right thing, and so they can't do something for the environment. Well, that's the stuff I help them with. Like, that's not true. You can use your unique talents, you can use your unique skills, and we'll figure something out for you to do, because we need you. We need people who are passionate about the environment to do whatever they can to help. And so that's the kind of message I've been telling people. Like, if you are passionate about something, we'll find out a way for you to contribute, and in a way that aligns with what you are. So you don't have to like change yourself dramatically to do this work. You can do exactly what you do right now. You can do what you do best and still contribute to the environment. So that's kind of my story and my message so far. Sorry, it was a long story.
What an inspirational life. It really, inspires so many women, especially women,
Mm,
because not everybody really chases their dreams. Not everybody really go after their dreams and fulfill them at the least. So, your story is actually very inspiring to most of the women out here, and to chase your dreams, to drive your passion, and just do what you love to do. And the way you said that you went online, I think COVID has really given you the time to collect yourself and collect all your strengths and put it in one like package.
Hmm.
I think that is what has happened to you during the COVID,
Yeah,
because all your 10 years of experience, you know what, this is the time for me to really go within myself, get all my core strengths out and put it in one package and try to help people as much people as
yeah,
I can.
definitely.
Uh,
Thank you so much for that. I definitely feel like, I don't really set out be like I'm going to empower women or something like that. But but I definitely would, really, I'd be thrilled if anybody will be inspired by this message and say you can chase your dream, you can do it. Um, I do feel like on the topic of like chasing your dream, there's a lot of kind of misconception of like what is that out there. You know, there, especially people in my generation. So I'm in my early 30s, and in my generation, um, it's starting to change now. But for a while, especially like when I was in my 20s, I feel like everyone's just like drop everything, chase your dream, and like do whatever you want. Like I sometimes that actually leads people down to like a place where they can't really recover. So while you chase your dreams, you have to be a little bit careful about like what it is that you are really chasing. Yeah. And so this is actually where coaching can help a lot too, because you get a second person who's really like basically professional at doing this and helping you figure things out to like really see like, okay, is your idea like really good? you know Basically that's like what it comes down to. Like, and if it's not good, or if it's not complete, like if it's not complete, do you have to consider something else? Like, let's make sure your plan is very safe and like doable and achievable before you start going down, before you give up everything and like chase your dream. So
yeah,
we just have to do a little bit more in a like smart way.
yeah,
And
I think
with
we need to
yeah,
yeah.
your chance of success will actually increase, and you'll feel just like more happy during the process as well. Yeah. So sorry, like it was just kind of like a thought that came up when
That's
as
all right.
that.
uh, you can just be free as no, you can express
Mhm.
yourself, talk whatever it comes to your mind,
Yeah,
whatever you feel like talking, that's all right.
yeah.
um, yeah,
Thank you.
so
Thank you so
absolutely
much.
right,
I feel like just
wherein
chatting with a friend.
yeah, I mean, I think this is a great friendship bond which is happening right now. I just feel that, and as you said, it's very right. We need to chase our dreams, but being very careful and being very intelligent,
Mhm.
and with a high discrimination. Like we really need to be careful as to making the right choices, making the right decisions in life, and so that is what I think we were talking about. Yeah, and since this is this we have thrown this challenge called 21 days plant-based challenge. I would really like to know your perspective of plant-based life and
Mhm.
how it really impacts us, and why should one choose a plant-based life.
Okay. I'll start with basically my perspective on that. Like, I definitely like say I'm 100% for it. That's my that's short answer for that. Um, I personally kind of have struggled with doing a complete plant-based diet. So in my life, I have gone like sometimes I am, sometimes I'm not, sometimes like a mix. So um, and about a year ago, I think so. I have a colleague, a good friend of mine, who's a health coach, and we coach each other sometimes. And she also did. So we also both did coaching training for climate change topics together. So we have for about a year we like coach each other, and because she's a health coach, I actually have asked her this question before. So like how can I practice plant-based diet more deeply or more completely in my own life. And I was living in Japan at that time, and the Japanese culture is not very good for practicing plant-based diet. Um, you may be able to get, like, say you get a bowl of noodles, or you may be able to get it without meat, but the soup will have meat in it, kind of thing, like a broth that has meat. And so it's just like a lot of the culture itself, it does not practice plant-based diet, and so it's very hard to do that when you live there. So
Right.
I do think, like, culturally, like it has an influence on how much you can practice it. Um, on that front, what I have decided to do is just like I will make my own food as much as possible. So you do have to put in some effort there. Since moving back here, actually, my husband and I are pretty much on the same page regarding plant-based diet. And we so when it's just the two of us, we do pretty much eat vegetarian all the time. And I love cooking. And one of the biggest joys I have realized is that I actually enjoy cooking vegetarian food a lot. So it gives me great pleasure to I don't know, work with vegetables. It's
Yeah.
a strange thing to say. Yeah, so that's kind of like my perspective on that. And sometimes, like, when I'm with other family members or friends and things like that, I can't always be vegetarian. And but I'm okay with that sometimes. So going back to my story with my health coach friend, what she helped me realize is that it's actually a spectrum. It's a spectrum. So she asked me, like, do you always have to be on just like the 100% end of the spectrum? And I was like, that's a really interesting question. I guess I don't always have to be, because I was just being so hard on myself about this. And so now I have a more flexible mindset towards it. Like, most of the time when I'm by myself, when I can have control, I do it. When I don't have control, I don't make a big fuss about it. And as a result, you can create a better sort of like atmosphere when you're with people who are not ready to share this with you, and you don't act like someone who is like so picky, or sometimes like environmentalists have like a sort of attitude towards other people that make them less popular. And so for me, like, maintaining that peace between me and other people has worked out pretty well. Yeah. So.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. I think that is what it's all about, like balancing your life and
That's a great
balancing
way
the
to put
loved
it.
ones.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a really nice way of putting it out in your perspective. And have you been introduced to spirituality in your life at any point of time? Like,
Mm-hmm.
spirituality can need not be a miracle that is happening. It
Mm-hmm.
can be a little small understandings or little small signals from the universe that you might have caught up and really acted upon that.
Yeah,
Anything, everything is spiritual. If I have to say, there's nothing
definitely.
like this is not spiritual, then this is spiritual. Nothing like that. But
Mm-hmm.
then I really want to know if you have at any point of time felt the spiritual side of you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great question. I I was exposed to spirituality in the form of meditation, um, starting from when I was a child. So,
Mhm.
and this has to do with my upbringing in Taiwan. Like I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of Buddhist influence there. I'm not Buddhist, but because there's so much Buddhism in, like, cultures like in Taiwan and like a lot of Asian countries, I think sometimes like this stuff is just very normal. And so my mother would make me meditate every day, basically, just to practice, like nothing. I don't have to think about mantra or like things like that. I don't. I just practice being still,
Mhm.
and thinking back to it, it was good practice for self-discipline as a child. But as an adult now, I really feel the benefit of it because right now I can really calm down very easily. um, and I can meditate, get into this like really still mindset, a really calm state of mind, and just like in a few seconds, basically. So that's sort of a physical practice of spirituality, I would say. In terms of like mental or emotional, I really do, even though I'm not religious, I really do feel a very deep connection to the universe. And I really do believe that, energy between people and between pretty much anything in our ecosystem. Like you were saying earlier, like, saying, just connecting with plants. I have this habit of like petting trees when I see them. It's very like almost a little bit bizarre sometimes. And so yeah, like connecting with nature, I feel like it's just a very natural, no pun intended, part of me to do that. I also believe that like as you are trying to accomplish what you want to do, and this energy that you put out in the world will come back to you, and the universe will also help you do it if you want. So those are the three things that are very spiritual about me, I would say. So just to answer the question, yeah. Mm.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very subtle way of actually, having that experience, and each and every one of us experiences, some or the other kind of a spiritual experience, and no one, escapes that, that spirituality or that divinity within, oneself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yes, according to the, your website, you have been into ecology, and tell us about conserving Mother Nature and what must one do to really, contribute towards the sustainability of the earth, and what should each individual do as much, whatever you want to suggest.
Mm-hmm.
So, what can one do to sustain Mother Earth, like cultivating the conservation habits? What must one do?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a huge question, right? I feel like yeah, you can look at the scientific side of this, or you can look at the like humanitarian side of this. There are people just basically from different fields talking about sustainability. It's become a really multidisciplinary subject. Um, so my original pursuit of sustainability is through ecology. Um, and this gives me a lot of like the scientific background of it, and it make me sort of not afraid of tackling this subject because I have the scientific background. I do see that as a big barrier for people, just like they feel they need to be an expert at this. Um, even my husband, who talks about this with me every day, he feels sometimes like because he's not green enough that he can't really come on and like talk to about this with people. And so I was just saying, long story short, that my take on how you can actually contribute is to really work on how you think about this situation. Okay. And what I mean by that is you don't have to be perfect. And the thinking that you need to be perfect is one big thing that stops you from doing it. So without having to go through a lot of, deep methods or like, knowledge about how to do this, I would say that is a really good place to start. Like, think about like what kind of resistance comes up as you think about sustainability. Okay, what is like the first thought that comes up? So, like I said, a lot of people will be like, I don't know anything about it. So that is what I mean. Like, what is the thought that comes up? Okay, so this is like an exercise you can do by yourself. Just what comes up when you think about sustainability. Okay, and I actually have a free resource on my website, which I would love to share with you later. I listed 28 different kinds of thoughts that could come up as you think about this. And there are things like I don't know anything about it, or I am only one person, yeah, or someone else needs to do this first. Like the society needs to change first, or like there are different things that people always. They're basically kind of like excuses that people think about when they. But excuses are a little bit. I don't even think they're really excuses. They're just like kind of subconscious thought that comes up when you think about this. And it's I want you to think that, to recognize that this is actually normal too, because you're dealing with, like with sustainability, we're dealing with the larger environment, which can be very scary. So like, yes, we love nature, we enjoy being in it and stuff like that, but like when you start thinking about helping it, when you start thinking about like doing something for it, you can feel very small, because we are, and that's exactly kind of how I felt when I worked in the Arctic as well. It's just like you feel this immense environment, and how you can really physically see how small you are as a person. And so this kind of like powerlessness, I would say, is very normal when you start to think about helping the environment. So, but I'm also here to tell you that it's possible to overcome that. Okay. So it's possible to overcome that through really thinking about why you want to do this. And also, so I can take you through all this stuff, like, exercises about like discovering your why behind sustainability and things like that. But we probably don't have the time for that today. So I'll just mention these quick steps for you. Yeah, so really think about the why you want to do this, and usually if you're very clear about why you want to do something, that will give you a lot of motivation to keep you going. Yeah. And another very direct way to help you overcome this powerlessness about the environment is to really tap into your strength. Okay. And this is what I mean with my original message about like helping you find your unique ways to contribute to the world, because your uniqueness are the most powerful part about you. So, and the powerful part about you is exactly what you need to tackle and to combat the powerlessness that you will feel naturally about the environment. To be honest, I feel powerless a lot, all the time. But because I have already done this work to tap into my strength, it helps me all the time. Like when the feeling of powerlessness comes up, I can my strength will come in and help me defeat that. So it's not like you worked on this and it will just go away forever, okay? Because our emotions are constantly fluctuating, and every day is a new day, like things happen, so it's very normal that you're gonna feel different things. But what's important is that when problems come up, when negative feelings come up, you know how to tackle that, and that's what we call resilience, right? And so resilience is also something that I would help people build so that they can continue doing this work that they want to do for the environment. So I know that I kind of have directed this conversation about like how do you contribute to the world into something about your emotions. But I would say that is really the first step, because if you don't even overcome this emotional block, you won't actually do it. So I can tell you, like, I don't know, there are books and books about sustainability. Like you can read all of that, but you won't do it if you don't feel that you are powerful. Like if you don't feel like you're ready to do it. So my after working with a lot of people and having been in the science field myself, I think my short answer is that you really have to get into the mindset of like being ready and feel like in control of the situation to start taking actions. So.
Yeah, uh, that's very true. Whatever you said is 100% true. Because we really need to, one or the other day, we need to deal with ourselves. Uh, We really need to deal with our own thoughts, deal with our own emotions, and we really need to master our mind and emotions. I think that is where meditation helps us in.
Definitely. Yeah.
The we tend to use these words like, just like I said, deal or train, or um, whatever that words will be used. I prefer to use the word mastering your mind and mastering your emotions,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
uh, because you don't deal with them, you master them. You don't train your mind. You can train your brain, but
Mm-hmm.
training your mind is, it's not possible, because you really need to master your mind. When you master your thoughts, you don't have to really, again try to tame them and control them or deal with them or train them, or whatever word that we may use. uh, because that is something that we teach in meditation. You need to master your mind, and you really need to master your emotions, and try to
Absolutely.
purify your heart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, really purifying your heart is something that will really get us closer to our soul within.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so we really need to purify our heart and open up our hearts with discrimination, of course. We need to
Mm-hmm.
really open our hearts uh, and fill our hearts with compassion and love and generosity and humility, patience and tolerance and inclusiveness, everything. So all these attributes, make your heart, and that is when you really actually that the spiritual journey starts, and then you become a soul.
Yeah.
First we need to become a being, then a human being, then a superhuman, then you become the divine self.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So I would just say that everyone who's listening to this right now and who's engaged with your program, you guys are in the perfect place to learn the skill to get into the your super self for sustainability actions. So it's great. I'm sure that your audience would be successful with all your help. Um, if I can add one thing to what you asked me earlier, so we talk a lot about emotions and how do you get into the right mindset to do this work. Um, and yeah, so like I just really want to stress how important that is. Like, there's actually a good example is just like myself. Like, I was very very into this work, ecology and climate change work, and I got really burned out because I just didn't really like protect myself well enough or got into the right mindset. Like, if and that was like almost 10 years ago. So imagine if I had coaches or meditation to help me get back into the right mindset about climate change, then I might have done more stuff about it sooner. Yeah. And instead, I went on and did a lot of really cool job, and which I loved as well. And it gave me a lot of different experiences and skills and things like that I can bring all of them into my work right now. So sometimes maybe that's what the universe wanted for me. But at the same time, I do feel like I first received my first climate change coaching call, I think back in 2019, and it literally changed my life. Like, I was like, oh wow, I was feeling inconfident. I didn't want to talk to people about climate change because I just didn't feel powerful enough within myself, and like that really awoken this the strength and the passion I had before. And then it helped me connect everything. And I also realized that ecology was not the path for me to do this work. But my strength really lies in talking to people. My
Yes.
superpower is to calm people down and then help them like really see within the chaos that whatever they're experiencing, like what is the path forward. So that is the path, that is my unique way of contributing. And so I have like, once I grab onto that, it really made me feel just so ready and so empowered, much more than before when I was doing ecology. So that's the power and importance of getting into the right mindset for this. But the next step after that, okay, so So the next step is you do have to learn a little bit about sustainability, okay? And so this is like, we're going back to the sort of more technical side of things, or the more science part of this. You do have to learn a little bit, because just like you have to learn some new vocabulary to speak a new language, okay? This is like kind of a new thing that you're learning, and with any new things, you just have to learn a little bit about it. But the good news is you don't need to learn a lot. So, so for example, in this new program that I put together, I have about 300 strategies that I teach in this course about going green. And the truth is, you really just need to start with one. Okay, so 300 sounds like it's a lot, or whatever. I mean, to be honest, you can just like Google some of, like, any article will give you like maybe 10 strategies or something like that, right? So what I'm saying is you do need to learn a little bit about it, but you don't really need to learn a lot at the same time. Like, it can maybe take you like 10 minutes and you can start doing it. You can start taking actions. But the point is, though, you have to actually go back to that mindset in the beginning. So once you learn the knowledge, what are you going to do? Like, so how are you going to do it, and things like that. So so you do need both mindset and knowledge, but don't let the knowledge part scare you, and don't let the knowledge part stop you. You don't have to spend a lot of time to get the knowledge, and you can get started like today if you want to. So
Yeah. And getting knowledge, as much as important as it is, applying the knowledge that you have gained through studies or reading books, or talking to people, I think that is as most uh, even important as acquiring knowledge. Because unless and until we really apply it in our life, uh, no amount of knowledge is going to be useful to us.
definitely,
uh,
yeah. Yeah, like
so
if knowledge is enough, then everybody would be fit and healthy, everybody will be rich. Our world would have no problems, because we have all the knowledge we need to do whatever. Like, and as you can clearly see, it's not the case. Like, the knowledge is not enough. It really is the mindset, the like, what you're going to do with the knowledge, how you're going to implement it. That is the most important thing. So the more interesting question to ask yourself is like, okay, well, why? So, why aren't you doing it? So that's a good question to come ask yourself. When you find yourself not doing things that you want to do, or not doing things that you know is right to do, it's like, why aren't you doing it? So, and be gentle with yourself in that process as well, because this why question, like, why aren't you doing it, if you say it in the wrong way, it can sound like really confrontational. It can sound really critical or really judgmental. So, so I would just encourage you that, like, do ask yourself that question, but be gentle and be self-compassionate in that process. So, so that you don't end up scaring yourself into not doing it any further. So.
that's beautiful. That's very good way to put it across. Your ideas and your thoughts are really inspirational, and something that we all really need to learn. About dealing with emotions, or the sustainability part, and the way you are helping so many people. It's really, really, really commendable, and you are doing a great service to society in whatever way that you're doing, whatever channel or the mediums that you're doing. I think you're doing a really great job, and this is what the world needs. This is what we need. Many people like in us trying to help each other out, uh, trying to help each other with our own experiences, with how we overcame our own difficulties and our own challenges, and because that is our strength, that is where our strength lies, and that is uh, the place wherein we help others and
Mhm.
try to uplift others.
Definitely. Yeah, that's really beautiful. And unfortunately, sometimes it's very hard for a person going through challenges to see that themselves. So I encourage you to reach out to your friends or, a meditation group such as what Pari runs, or if you're ready for a higher level help, reach out to coaches like me too. That these are all resources that can really help you find the strengths to carry on what you want to do. And I just can't stress enough about how much I love working with people with aspirations to help the world. Sometimes there's nothing wrong with just like trying to find a job that pays you money. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But if you are someone with a higher aspiration to do something for other people and for the environment, for the world, that is beautiful, and you need to hang on to that, and so it's my mission to help you realize that kind of dreams.
Beautiful. Beautiful. That's amazing. And I can't have, thank you enough from all the people who have helped you, whom you have helped. I'm sorry. That being said, what is this website that you have?
Mm.
I am blown over, I am bowled over with the way you have presented yourself and your passion and your soul exactly into your website. And what is your website about, and how do you propose to help people?
Oh, okay. Well, my website is it basically shows you my philosophy towards sustainability, and what sort of like a lot of what we have talked about today, like in a very succinct way, like my mission as being helping people find their unique ways to contribute to the world and so on. But it just my website gives a lot more details about that. So my point of view is explained on the first page. My background is explained in my about page. So a little bit more details about like how I went through this environmental work myself and being really burned out and not do anything for climate change for like 10 years. But then like how I have done a lot of different things, and in the end, putting them all together into this work.
Yeah.
And I also have talked about my services. So at this moment, I have just launched a new online course. And there will be a lot more other courses coming up, and they're all listed on my website right now. So you can kind of take a look. And my plan is that people can take these courses at their own time, anytime they want. But once in a while, I will host live sessions of these courses so that we can do it together. And if you have a really like specific goal that you really want to achieve, what I have mostly been doing in the last year is one-on-one coaching. So that is what I would say the most effective way of getting what you want done. Yeah. So those are the services that I have right now. I'm also getting into working with some companies and things like that. But that's in the works. I also have a page of really nice things that my students and clients have said about me so far. And really appreciate everyone who has given me such good comments and testimonials for me to share with others. And so that's like what my website is about. And also have a blog. So I share different things about like how to contribute to the world through via sustainability, basically. And there's a lot of things that we can't really talk about in this talk because it's just so much. It's a huge discipline. But I really do, like I said earlier, after a lot of experience with this, I do feel like the important thing here is to really address your emotional state in your mindset about sustainability. So that's the topics that I will talk a lot about as well. So that's a little bit what my website is about. Would you like me to share a little bit more about the course, or?
I mean, if you want to, definitely you can go ahead.
Okay, yeah, sure. So like I mentioned, I have a course right now about how to actually practice sustainability, and I put this together because despite the sort of emotional mindset and everything that we have talked about, a lot of people feel stuck with their knowledge about sustainability. So I just decided, like, okay, well, let's solve this problem. Let's solve this problem once and for all. And so I put together this course where you will get basically about 300 strategies that you can do with your individual. So you as an individual, personal actions you can take, but also actions you can take with your family, with your work and business, with your community, and with some advocacy that you want to do. And also, what you can do about this actually is not what you can do for sustainability, but what sustainability can do for you. And in this case, I'm talking about the financial benefits of sustainability. And so the course includes 125 ways that you can go green and save money at the same time. So that's like a kind of an exciting thing to think about, like not just about what we can do, but also what sustainability can do for you. And so that's also a new perspective that I definitely think not a lot of people are talking about. Um, when we think about like giving to nature or giving to the environment or doing something for it, we could feel like eventually we could feel a little burnout about this, like you are just giving and giving and giving and you're not getting anything back. Well, because it's nature, like it's hard to see that as a material thing. Like, you can benefit from energy, you can benefit from the spirituality and things like that. Like those are all things that nature can give you naturally. But like what kind of material things is it giving you? It's hard to imagine that. But and so that's why I'm really excited to introduce these ways that you can go green and save money at the same time. That's a way I think as human beings we can really see the benefits. So that's what I talk about as well. Yeah, and we also have some group sessions in this course. We have 3 group sessions to give us an opportunity to network and to combine our strength towards this cause and do it together. So yeah, so that's just a little bit about a new program that I put together to help you work on both the mindset and the knowledge part. It's a good balance.
That's right. And my dear friends, you can see here there's a scroll going on underneath, and you can see her website greengrowthcoaching.com. So, any of you are interested to take up her courses, please go and check out her website, and you might end up taking her course. So, uh, these courses, which I know, I think they are very nicely put and really caters to the basic needs. I mean, the right needs, if I have to say, of a person to find their own path, find the right way to contribute to the society or the humanity or Mother Earth in any which way that they can. So, Shannon, would you like to do a 10-minute meditation with us?
Absolutely. Yeah. I just before we do that, I have posted the link to the course on the
Yeah.
side, and there is a special discount code just for the audience of SWAP. I think your organization is doing something really, really interesting, and in an area that like I said, I was so excited to talk to a group of audience from India. I think you have the manpower. I think you have the brain power to make this work really come true. And so, on that front, I'd love to help you realize this. So, for the audience of this, I have provided a $50 off discount code there for you. So, yeah, hope to see you inside. So, let's do the meditation now. Thank you.
Yes, yes. I would love to take you and guide you through a just short 10-minute
That's
meditation.
That would be
so that
amazing.
we really get into it, the spiritual side of ourselves, and yeah. So I'll just ask you to clasp your hands like this, uh, just to lock our energies, just to clasp your hands like this, and try to fold your legs wherever you're sitting. Just cross your legs or fold your legs wherever is possible. Try to close your eyes and start observing your breath. No mantra is needed, no chanting is needed. Don't need to remember or concentrate or anything else. So, Charlotte, that is the meditation uh, that we all try to make it our daily routine, and
Mhm.
not a day goes by without meditation. Uh, so we urge each and every friend of mine, each and every human being on this planet, to make meditation a part of your life, because that is what will really take you inside and really introduce you to yourself and become who you truly are. So that is where meditation really helps you and will help you to find the divinity within, from within all the masks that you have. Cover yourself and take off all the layers of the mask and introduce you to yourself. So this is what we do, meditation. This is called the Anapanasati meditation, Charlotte.
Mm.
Ana means inhale, apana means exhale, and sati means to be with. This is from the Pali language, from the Buddhistic culture. So this is the Buddha's way of meditation that we have, but that we do, and this is the only and the right kind of meditation, if I have to say. Anapanasati meditation, which is given by the great Buddha. Thanks to him that we have got this great technique of meditation.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
So how did you feel?
I feel really good. I have never done meditation like to a live audience before, but I was still able to really relax and yeah, and feel very centered um, and calm in my mind and on my seat. So I am sitting cross-legged on my chair, and I was just feeling really grounded.
So maybe you can actually introduce meditation into your the work that you do. You're already doing a
Absolutely.
great work, but I think meditation will also add that thing which people might be missing in their life.
Hmm.
So you
Yeah.
can actually incorporate meditation into their knowing yourself and knowing what you actually want to contribute
Hmm.
to, and to find the true meaning of life.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Hmm.
so this is one thing which you can incorporate. It's just a suggestion, as a
Hmm.
friendly
Yeah, me too,
suggestion.
actually. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I absolutely do that. And I encourage, because I am not like a trained professional to give meditations, but I do have my own, as a lifelong practitioner, I have my own special techniques to help me get grounded and things like that. And I introduce that to the
Yeah.
people I work with too. But
Right.
yeah, maybe what will be really interesting is to get experts like you to come talk to my audience too about meditation.
Would love to, love to,
Mhm.
because this is something which, you know, it's that our only job is to tell people how to meditate and
Mhm.
to tell about the benefits of meditation. It's up to them whether they want to incorporate it in their life or not. So
Yeah.
we need to really give them that space to really, get to that habit of meditation. So all we need to do is keep telling. So one time or the other, they will start meditating,
Mhm.
but the only idea is to plant the seeds. plant the thought of
Absolutely.
a meditation into each and every person, so
Hmm.
that at some point of time or the other, it will be really helpful to them.
Yeah, wonderful.
Wow, that has been such an amazing conversation with you, Charlotte. And I won't leave you before you share at least one or two of your favorite recipes, plant-based recipes, if you
Okay,
want.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I actually just wrote an Instagram post about this yesterday,
Okay.
which I think it will come up in a few days. But one of my favorite meals, vegetarian meals, is the vegetarian shepherd's pie.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like the traditional shepherd's pie, but I replace meat with green lentils,
Mm-hmm.
and pretty much everything else is the same. You use like
We
mushrooms.
don't know what that is. We don't know what that is. You just have to give me the ingredients.
Oh, okay, yeah. So
Yeah.
the shepherd's pie is like a filling, and
Mm-hmm.
then on the top it's a layer of potatoes, mashed
Mm-hmm.
potatoes, and you bake the whole thing together.
Okay.
And in the filling, basically it's a lot of different vegetables like carrots, peas, corn if you want, um, and mushrooms. Yeah. Um, you can add celery too if you want. Basically, like whatever vegetables you want, but those are the basic ones. And then the traditional recipe is with ground meat, but I use green lentils instead. So you have to cook the green lentils on the side first until it's soft. So and I recommend cooking it in vegetable broth so that it's more even more flavorful, and then after that you just cook everything together. You can add onion and garlic as well. It's yeah, and then basically, do you want me to talk about the spices as well? I don't really remember the spices very well right now, but vegetarian shepherd's pie, if you're interested, please Google it. And while you're cooking the filling, you should be cooking the potatoes on the side as well because you have to mash them. So this dish takes a little bit of time, but it's really delicious. Um, so yeah, after you finish the filling, get a pan that you can use to bake with,
Mm-hmm.
and fill like about half the pan with the filling, and then put the mashed potatoes on top.
Okay.
And that's pretty much it. You can like kind of sprinkle some chili powder on the potatoes if you want, or you can use like vegetarian cheese if you want. But it's just as good without. And then you just bake the whole thing together for, I don't know, like 20 minutes. It's all cooked, so you don't really need to bake it to cook it. The baking is just like kind of like make the two things go together. Very, very hearty dish that goes really well, just like a perfect dinner.
Mm-hmm.
The great thing is you can actually freeze this so you can have it later too. So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, that's something which I've heard for the first time, and I'm sure I'll try it with all the vegetables that I can.
Cool. Yeah.
And yes, that is awesome. That completes our program for today because we have learned a lot from you. We have, gone through so much of stuff with you, and uh, thank you for being our inspiration. Thank you for being who you are. Thank you for bringing us the you that you are, and you're such a gift to this world, to this mother. Thank you so much for doing the work that you're doing, the amazing work that you're doing, of helping others and helping them realize their own dreams and uh, to get their own self worth. I think that's a beautiful job that you're doing. Keep doing the work, keep doing the good work, and keep inspiring us.
Thank
Thank you
you
so
so
much
much.
for
Thank you so much.
coming to this platform. And would you like to say something as a final message to our audience?
Yeah, well, it was. Thank you so much for all those final comments, and it's a great pleasure to be here as well. Um, yeah, final comments is just that sustainability. Yes, we have to start with personal actions, but in the end, it really is something that humans have to do collectively. And so
Mhm.
I would just say, yeah, like start with yourself, but try to inspire others. Like that's the way. Starting with yourself is the way that you will inspire others to take actions as well. And I would be very happy to talk to anybody on a private call as well. I offer free calls for people who I have not met before, so I'm happy to chat with you about any kind of thoughts that you have, any questions that you have about this topic. So please get in touch with me via my website, greengrowthcoaching.com. And yeah, so thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for being here with us and sharing us your wisdom and knowledge. And I hope I can see you again in the future soon enough. And so that we can introduce meditation into your courses and everything. So thank you so much for coming here and inspiring us and for you know giving us this vast knowledge of the huge experience that you carry as an ecologist, as climate change person, and everything. So,
Yeah.
thank you so much again.
Thank you.
Totally grateful to you. Thank you.
Grateful to you
Namaste.
too. Namaste.